They told you that war had changed, that the battlefield was no longer men clashing with steel or guns echoing across fields, that the new wars were digital, fought with algorithms, data, and screens. But here's the truth, war hasn't changed at all. The weapons are different, but the struggle is the same. Power, control, the ability to shape reality itself. And centuries before Twitter bots, propaganda memes, or disinformation campaigns, one man wrote the manual for how it all works. Niccolo Machiavelli. A name whispered with suspicion, even contempt. A man dismissed as cynical, ruthless, even evil. Yet his insights into human nature and power remain more relevant today than the brightest analyst or the most advanced AI model. If you think today's information wars are about truth, you've already lost. Because Machiavelli knew, it's never about truth. It's about perception. Hey there, awesome viewers. Before we dive into this epic story, do us a solid and smash that like button, drop a comment to share your thoughts, and hit subscribe to join our amazing community for more thrilling adventures. Let's get started. Ignore this and you are not just uninformed, you are prey. In a world where narratives define legitimacy, where attention is more valuable than gold, where reputations can be manufactured or destroyed in hours, those who fail to understand the mechanics of perception will always be ruled by those who do. If you believe that facts alone can save you, you are walking naked into a battlefield armed with nothing but your sincerity. And sincerity, as Machiavelli would tell you, is a liability. To survive in today's information wars, to win, you must learn from the man who first mapped the terrain of power. If you don't, someone else will use his playbook against you. Machiavelli lived in a world of daggers and intrigue. Renaissance Italy was not a place of peace and order but of constant betrayal, plots, shifting alliances, and city-states locked in endless struggle. Florence, Milan, Venice, Rome, each one a nest of conspiracies, each one ruled by men who lived under the shadow of assassination. In this world, Machiavelli saw something that most of his contemporaries missed. He understood that raw force alone wasn't enough to rule. You could have the largest army, the richest treasury, the strongest fortress, and still lose everything in a single stroke if you failed to control perception. A prince, Machiavelli wrote, must seem merciful, faithful, humane, sincere, religious, but he need not be any of these things. He only needed to appear as such. Appearances mattered more than reality because men judge more with their eyes than with their hands. And if they believe you are strong, virtuous, and just, it doesn't matter if behind the curtain you are ruthless, calculating, and cold. The performance is what holds power together. Fast forward 500 years, and the principle has not changed. Politicians today don't need to be good, they only need to seem good. Corporations don't need to be ethical, they only need the right branding. Influencers don't need to be authentic, they only need the performance of authenticity. In the age of information warfare, reality bends to perception, and the clever know how to bend perception at will. Look at modern propaganda campaigns. Governments don't need their citizens to believe truth, they need them to believe their version of truth. A state does not win information wars by convincing everyone, but by sowing doubt, confusion, and division. When truth becomes uncertain, when the battlefield is fogged by conflicting claims, perception becomes the only compass. And those who control perception control the war. This is why Machiavelli's voice echoes so loudly today. Because he stripped away the illusions. He told rulers the hard, ugly truth. People are fickle, self-interested, and easily deceived. They love with their eyes, not with their reason. They are seduced by appearances, distracted by spectacle, and moved by fear more than by gratitude. And in the digital age, where every phone is a theater and every platform a stage, the logic of perception has become total. To understand this is to see the battlefield for what it truly is. To ignore it is to wander blindly into the ambush. Machiavelli would have thrived in the 21st century. Not because he loved technology, he lived long before machines shaped our world, but because he understood something more enduring than inventions. He understood the machinery of the human mind. He understood that power does not rest on the steel of armies alone, but on the stories people tell themselves, the illusions they embrace, the fears they carry, and the hopes they cling to. Technology has simply multiplied the reach of those illusions, magnified them until they span the globe in an instant. If Machiavelli were alive today, he would not be writing letters to the Florentine elite. He would be studying Twitter algorithms, TikTok trends, and the way Facebook amplifies outrage. He would not see these platforms as tools of entertainment or commerce, but as arsenals, weapons of influence as sharp as any blade. Because he would recognize that in this age, control of the narrative is control of the battlefield. Consider what goes viral. Rarely is it truth. Rarely is it careful reasoning. The viral lives in the space between emotion and simplicity. Outrage, humor, fear, pride, these spread like fire in dry grass. Machiavelli told us that men are more moved by appearances than by reality. In the viral economy, this principle has become absolute. It is not the truth of the message that matters, but its emotional punch, its speed, its ability to hook the attention of millions for a fleeting moment. Memes are the modern banners of war. In Renaissance Italy, armies rallied under flags, each color and symbol a signal of allegiance. Today, armies of users rally under hashtags, slogans, and images that condense complex conflicts into a single frame. The meme does not persuade, it simplifies. It does not argue, it signals. And in the chaos of information warfare, signals are stronger than facts. Machiavelli once wrote that it is safer for a ruler to be feared than loved. In the age of disinformation, this maxim has evolved. It is not just about fear of a ruler, but fear of reality itself. If you can make people doubt their own ability to know what is true, you do not need to convince them of your position. You simply paralyze them. This is the genius and the horror of modern disinformation campaigns. They are not designed to create a single dominant narrative. They are designed to flood the battlefield with so many conflicting narratives that truth itself drowns. When every headline contradicts the next, when every fact has its counterfact, when every video is followed by a debunk, the result is exhaustion. People retreat into tribes, clinging not to truth but to belonging. And those tribes can then be manipulated with surgical precision. Machiavelli, had he seen this, would not be surprised. He would say, people prefer illusions that comfort them over truths that unsettle them. A ruler, or in today's language, a propagandist, does not need to supply truth, he only needs to supply an illusion strong enough to be chosen. In Machiavelli's time, sovereigns were kings, popes, princes, men who commanded loyalty through the spectacle of power. Today, sovereignty has shifted. The new sovereign is attention itself. He who controls attention controls wealth, reputation, elections, even war. Attention is finite. Every second you give to one narrative is a second stolen from another. And because attention is scarce, its control has become the most ruthless competition of our age. This is why influencers fight like mercenaries on digital fields, each post a strike, each video a campaign. This is why states invest billions not only in weapons of steel, but in armies of bots, troll farms, and media outlets designed to harvest the scarce currency of attention. Machiavelli wrote that men are simple creatures, content to be deceived if the deception flatters them. In the economy of attention, the most flattering deception wins. The promise of belonging, the thrill of outrage, the comfort of certainty, these are the weapons that keep people hooked, obedient, and predictable. One of Machiavelli's most enduring insights was that ruling is theater. A prince must stage his image carefully, performing virtues he does not possess, suppressing vices he cannot reveal. The stage has simply grown larger. In the past, the performance was confined to courts, palaces, and public squares. Now, the performance is global, continuous, and relentless. Every tweet is an act on the stage. Every press conference, every leaked email, every viral clip, all of it is theater. And those who master the theater, who understand the choreography of attention, wield a power greater than those who command armies. Because perception does not just reflect reality anymore, it creates it. Think of how reputations are destroyed online. A single accusation, magnified, repeated, turned into spectacle, and a career collapses. No court of law, no deliberation, no time for truth to catch up. Only the theater of outrage. Machiavelli would see this as the natural evolution of his principle. The stage has grown, the actors are many, but the logic is unchanged. Power goes to those who perform best. In Machiavelli's world, condottieri were mercenary captains, soldiers for hire who fought wars for profit. Today, the new condottieri are not men with swords, but men with platforms. Influencers, spin doctors, PR strategists, propagandists, they rent out their ability to shape perception to the highest bidder. And like the mercenaries of old, they can be loyal one day, treacherous the next. This instability is itself a weapon. Just as Renaissance princes feared that mercenaries might turn against them, modern powers must fear that today's influencers might defect, leak, or betray. Loyalty is weak. Money, opportunity, clout, these sway allegiance more than any oath. Machiavelli would remind us, trust no mercenary. Use them, reward them, but never depend on them. We are living, then, in a Renaissance reborn, not of art and philosophy, but of intrigue and deception. Information is the new battlefield, memes the new banners, influencers the new condottieri, algorithms the new fortresses. And those who understand this terrain will triumph over those who cling to the illusion that facts speak for themselves. Because facts, left alone, are powerless. It is perception, shaped, weaponized, and spread with precision, that decides who wins and who loses in today's wars. Machiavelli never wrote a manual for the 21st century. He wrote for princes, for rulers navigating a dangerous world of plots and shifting loyalties. But his principles were not bound to his age. They were bound to human nature. And human nature has not changed. Men still crave esteem. They still fear loss more than they value gain. They still fall for illusions that flatter their desires. This is why his playbook can be lifted from Renaissance Italy and dropped into the digital landscape of today without missing a step. The difference is that now the battlefield is larger, the weapons faster, and the stakes greater. Winning or losing in information wars can decide not just the fate of a city-state, but the fate of nations, corporations, movements, and even personal reputations. So how do we apply Machiavelli's lessons today? The answer comes in two forms: offensive strategy and defensive survival. Machiavelli advised rulers to move first in shaping perception. Appearances, he wrote, are everything. Once an image is fixed in the public's mind, it becomes nearly impossible to erase. Modern politics illustrates this daily. A politician who defines himself early as strong, competent, and relatable can survive scandals that would destroy others. Because the perception was set first, reality second. This is why campaigns spend fortunes on branding, slogans, photo ops. Because the performance matters more than the details behind it. In business, the same applies. A company that positions itself as innovative or ethical plants a seed that protects it even when reality cracks. Think of how tech giants still bask in reputations for creativity and progress, even as scandals expose privacy violations and labor abuses. The perception was forged early, and perception lags behind reality. Machiavelli would advise, if you wish to win, strike early. Plant your image in the minds of others before your enemies plant theirs. Shape the battlefield by shaping expectations. One of Machiavelli's most famous maxims was his question, is it better for a ruler to be feared or loved? His answer, it is best to be both, but if forced to choose, fear is safer. In information wars, the same logic applies. To be loved online brings attention, but it is unstable. Affection can turn to indifference or betrayal overnight. Fear, or in modern terms, respect, has more durability. If your words or presence command awe, if your narrative cannot easily be mocked or dismissed, you stand stronger. This is why authoritarian leaders thrive in information wars. They do not seek to be loved, they seek to be feared. Their propaganda emphasizes strength, inevitability, invincibility. They flood the digital sphere with images of control, power, and ruthlessness. This does not inspire affection, but it inspires caution, and caution is more useful than fleeting love. Yet Machiavelli also warned that pure fear can breed hatred, and hatred is dangerous. The ruler must avoid crossing the line from feared to despised. Online, the same holds true. If your persona becomes nothing but cruelty, if you humiliate and alienate your audience, they will unite not in fear but in contempt. The balance, commanding respect without triggering revolt, is the delicate art. Machiavelli praised the use of spectacle. He noted that rulers should engage in grand displays, public ceremonies, festivals, rituals, because people are more easily swayed by dramatic shows than by dry policies. Today, spectacle is everywhere. Viral videos, dramatic scandals, carefully staged stunts, all are modern forms of political theater. Spectacle bypasses logic. It seizes the senses. A viral image of a politician eating pizza with construction workers can undo months of accusations of elitism. A perfectly timed meme mocking an opponent can humiliate them more than 1,000 rebuttals. Machiavelli would advise modern warriors of information: master spectacle. Craft moments that burn into memory. Do not argue endlessly over statistics and facts. Stage a performance that embodies your message. In the war of appearances, theater always beats logic. Machiavelli saw division as both danger and opportunity. A ruler who failed to control factions would be destroyed by them. But a clever ruler could exploit divisions to prevent rivals from uniting. Information warriors today do the same. Disinformation campaigns rarely attempt to persuade everyone. Instead, they focus on deepening fractures within societies. Racial tension, cultural conflict, political polarization, each is a crack to be widened. The goal is not victory through unity but victory through fragmentation. Machiavelli would nod knowingly at this. He would remind us that people rarely unite around truth, but they can always be divided by fear, resentment, and envy. Division weakens resistance, and a divided enemy cannot strike back with force. But Machiavelli was not only about attack. His lessons also provide defenses for those who wish to survive. If you do not wish to be consumed in today's information wars, you must train yourself in suspicion. First, trust appearances sparingly. If someone seems too virtuous, too flawless, too authentic, assume they are acting. Machiavelli insisted that rulers must perform virtue, therefore, citizens must assume that performance is a mask. In the digital age, this skepticism is survival. Second, diversify your sources of truth. Machiavelli knew rulers lied, and today's propagandists lie louder. If you depend on a single channel, a single influencer, a single news outlet, you are vulnerable. A prince who listens only to flatterers is blind. A citizen who listens only to one narrative is a pawn. Third, master silence. Machiavelli valued discretion. In today's world, every word can be weaponized. Every careless post can be twisted. The less you reveal, the less can be used against you. In information wars, restraint is armor. The genius of Machiavelli is not that he celebrated deceit, but that he revealed its necessity. He showed rulers what the world really was, not what moralists pretended it to be. That same hard clarity is what we need now. Because the information wars are not fair. They are not guided by reason. They are brutal, chaotic, and rigged in favor of those willing to deceive. If you cling to naive beliefs about truth always winning, you will lose. Machiavelli tells us plainly, truth is powerless without strategy. And so, in our world of bots, memes, and algorithms, Machiavelli wins again. His grand strategy is as alive as ever: perception first, reality second. Theater over logic. Fear over love. Division over unity. Illusion over truth. And unless you learn his lessons, you will be ruled by those who have.